Let's be honest, there's one map the entire Hunter Call of the Wild community has been asking for non-stop: Africa 2.0. And today, I'm probably going to make some of you very mad because this video isn't about a wish list or hopium. It's about what Africa 2.0 would actually look like if Expansive Worlds makes it, based on what they've already told us, whether the community likes it or not. I'm JBizHunts, and in this video, I'm breaking down the most realistic 2.0 map concept, pulling directly from recent developer Q&As, subtle hints in Discord responses, and the direction the game has clearly been moving into. Some of these details got me genuinely excited, others are going to challenge what a lot of players think Africa 2.0 should be. I love Virunga Savannah, but it dropped all the way back in 2018, and if Africa 2.0 happens, this wouldn't just be another reserve, it could be one of the biggest and most controversial updates in the game's history. Let's dive in. Before we talk concepts, we need to start with what the developers actually said, because this Q&A clears up some of the biggest rumors in the community. A lot of people believe Africa 2.0 is being saved as the last map. According to Kim, the game director, that's simply not true. She's very clear, there are no plans for a last map. This game is built for the long run, but the most important line here is that, why should we stop at Africa 2.0? That tells us Africa isn't being treated as a one-off remake, and that Expansive Worlds is thinking in terms of multiple distinct African reserves over time, not just a single return. So let's set some ground rules. Africa 2.0 isn't a send-off. It isn't the end of the game, and it's not going to be Virunga Savannah, but with better textures, it's part of a much bigger long-term plan, and that context matters for everything we are about to talk about next. So straight up, is Africa 2.0 on the way was asked? This answer is where the expectations gets reset. When Expansive Worlds talks about Africa 2.0, they make one thing very clear. This isn't just a direct sequel to Virunga. Their version goes beyond a single remake, focusing on distinct and different reserves across multiple regions, with Africa included in that long-term plan. But the most important detail here is why it hasn't happened yet. They repeated the point to quality standards, the expected animal roster, and the technology needed to support it. And they won't move forward until all that is in place. So Africa 2.0 isn't being delayed. It's being built for the game we're playing right now, not the one we were playing in 2018. And that context matters moving forward. This developer answer might be the most revealing of all. A lot of people think animals like elephants, rhinos, and hippos haven't been added because the engine can't handle them, but that's not the case. According to the devs, the animals themselves aren't the problem. The issue is scale. Kim explains that animals this large don't fit in the current Trophy Lodge system, and supporting them properly would require a full lodge redesign. Matt adds another critical piece. Every animal in the game is built for high fidelity movement, behavior, and interaction. When they add a completely new type of animal, it's massive investment of time and effort to get it off right. So this isn't about avoiding big animals, it's about making sure the systems around them don't break. And that matters especially for Africa 2.0. So when you put all of this together, a pattern starts to form. Expansive Worlds is planning multiple Africa maps, not just one. Each map is gated by technology and systems, not hype. Large African animals require a brand new trophy lodge to exist properly, which leads to a pretty important conclusion. We could realistically see an Africa 2.0 map sooner than people expect, built around the systems we already have with smaller and medium-sized species. But the true turning point, that's Africa 3.0. And the signal for that won't be an animal teaser, it will be the moment that we see a completely new trophy lodge in the game. That's when the biggest animals finally become a possibility. This is the part of the video where I'm probably going to make some of you mad, and honestly, I get it if this is where the drop-off happens. But with the current game mechanics and trophy lodge systems, I just don't see elephants, rhinos, or hippos realistically fitting into the game right now. They're simply too big. A hippo, maybe, but elephants and rhinos? I really doubt it under the current system. That said, that doesn't mean an Africa 2.0 map would be lacking exciting new species. Looking at recent reserves, the pattern is pretty consistent, around 10 new animals, a few remasters, and a mix of returning species. And the Hunter has never been afraid to bend real-world distribution a bit to create a balanced, playable reserve. So with that in mind, here's what I think a realistic roster for Africa 2.0 could be. Starting with Class 1, I think we'd see 2 new ground birds, 2 new ducks, and a goose. Duck, duck, goose. I really should stop laughing at my own jokes. First, the guinea fowl, a loud, flocking, ground-dwelling bird native to Africa, similar in size to a black grouse and perfect for fast-paced shotgun hunting on the ground. Second, the francolin, an upland bird closely related to pheasants and partridges, known for explosive flushes in thick grass and dense cover. I can see this bird having to be flush and shot on the fly like pheasants and quails currently in the game, which we just don't have on the Virunga Savanna map today. For ducks, I think we'd get the yellow-billed duck, essentially Africa's version of the mallard, and the red-billed teal, a small, fast-flying duck that stands out immediately thanks to that bright red bill. We'd also likely get a new goose species, the Egyptian goose. It's the most common and widely hunted goose in Africa, loud, aggressive, and strong flyer. For Class 2, the honey badger feels like a very realistic addition, especially now that we already have the European badger in the game from a development standpoint. Small, fearless, extremely aggressive, and a perfect fit mechanically. Moving into Class 4, we could see the impala, which feels like the most guaranteed on this list. It's fast, alert, herd-based, and one of the most iconic plain species in Africa. I'm honestly surprised that they were not on the original Virunga Savanna release. Alongside it, we would also see the bushbuck, favoring more forested and riverine areas, completely different behavior, tighter engagement, and dense cover for hunting. For predators, Class 5 would bring the African leopard, stealthy, solitary, and one of the most elusive big cats in the world. A totally different predator experience. I could see them being very similar in size to the mountain lion or puma. In Class 6, the spotted hyena would introduce true pack hunting behavior. Despite the scavenger reputation that they hold, hyenas are intelligent, coordinated hunters, closer to wolves than people think. I could see these guys being attracted to bait barrels, as that's how they are hunted in Africa today. Also in Class 6, we'd likely see the first equid species in the game, the zebra. Honestly, delivering on a popular ask that I've seen in a lot of concept videos. They are tough, herd-based, and far more durable than most people expect. Now for some more heavy-duty antelopes. For Class 7, two heavy hitters would make perfect sense. First, the sable antelope, aggressive, intimidating, jet black coats and a massive curved horns. One of Africa's toughest plain species. Honestly, this one I'd personally love to see and have a diamond of in my lodge. Second, the greater kudu. One of the most requested animals ever. Tall, striped bodies and legendary spiral horns on mature bulls. I can just imagine how these guys would look beside a lesser kudu and a multi-mount. And finally, a highly requested animal as the biggest new animal to the reserve is a Class 8, the eland, the largest antelope in Africa. Calm, quiet, deceptively tough, and a perfect flagship species for an Africa 2.0 plains ecosystem. Now, let's talk about remasters, because realistically, I can see three key ones and one that doesn't need a remaster but could use a new smart tweak along the way. First, the saltwater crocodile. Does it need a full remaster? Maybe not, but it's a perfect returning species for Africa. I could easily see it reworked and renamed to something like the Nile crocodile, or a closely related subspecies, similar to how the devs handled regional variants like the recent desert bighorn sheep on Rancho, or the separation of red grouse and willow ptarmigan. Same animal at its core, just given a proper African identity. The first true remaster has to be the warthog. It desperately needs one, and with the recent wild boar remaster, the groundwork is already there. New tusks, better animations, more aggressive behavior, and expanded hair or fur color variations would make warthog hunts far more dynamic. Plus, it adds a much-needed pig species to round out a heavy antelope roster. The second true remaster could be the Cape Buffalo, and yes, this is a big ask. Their fur variations could use serious improvements, and they'd benefit massively from proper horn models in a true rack system and more intimidating behavior. And let's be honest, what Africa map would be complete without a buffalo absolutely terrorizing you? They're widely considered the most dangerous games in Africa, and that's for a big reason. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The last several animals to receive major remasters have also gone on to become Great One species. The gray wolf, mule deer, red fox, the ringneck pheasant, and most recently the wild boar. That's exactly why the lion makes so much sense. A lion remaster that introduces the first African Great One and the first feline Great One in the game. This would be massive. It would instantly give Virunga Savanna, or Africa 2.0 map, its own dedicated Great One grind. And honestly, just imagine the fur variations. Different mane types alone could be absolutely legendary for this, and it gives them an opportunity to fix what I think is the biggest indiscretion for the lion, is the fact that they're all solo animals and they could really use a pride system where they're in actual herds that we could then grind for the Great One. I really think that there's a solid chance we see an Africa map released this year, either June or December as part of the Expansive Worlds roadmap. That said, it probably won't be what everyone's expecting. A big part of the community seems focused on blasting elephants and rhinos, but I don't think that's the only way an African map can be great. A reserve built with today's engine, improved biomes, and modern systems could still be absolutely amazing. Add in a new Great One species that can be backfilled in Virunga, and I'd be more than happy with a release that looks a lot like the animal roster you've seen in this video. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you honestly think the Hunter Call the Wild could bring this year? And would this be a release you'd be happy with? Or would you be more upset? If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give me a like. For more Hunter Call the Wild content, please subscribe. And as always, fellow hunters, happy hunting.